Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another scene set in Dark Crusade Season 2. Tonight, it is the second day of festivities at the Elysium of Timurin. The neutral ground where the claims of Praxis over the domain of Odessa is to be discussed. The first night was a fairly calm affair. The Elysium was announced, introduced, and the politics of court, or rather the gossips of court, got well underway. It was, however, a fairly quaint and quiet evening, all things considered. Not too much political or diplomatic was dealt with. The claims of Praxis seem to have been largely avoided for the first evening, perhaps out of courtesy or perhaps because those who are relevant enough to discuss it were simply not there to do so. Tonight, things seem to be going much the same way. But of course, the night has only just begun. Go do it. Introduce yourselves.
Yeah, sure. Why the fuck not? Irene is already in the main hall. I can kind of presume she has stayed there for the night, for the day. Like, of course I ruin it. That's what I do. That's my job. This is why you hire me.
Yes and yes.
So yeah, she is. She's actually taking a step away from all the social buzzing and is taking the moment to look out of the window and just seeing people arriving and just kind of enjoying that. And yeah, from there on turns around and looks through the room to see who is coming. Bum, bum, bum. No.
Yes, I would think Memnon was provided some approximate location or a description of where Elysium was being held in a particular building, I take it.
The Elysium is the castle kind of at the mount of the hill at the center of town. Timor itself is a walled town. As you go through it, you're permitted entry. You would be aware that the town has recently only reopened its gates. When plague struck Odessa, its gates closed. It was not allowing anyone in or out of the city, apart from known residents. It was not allowing any travelers or visitors through at all. It more or less shut its borders for all intents and purposes. The town itself, it is a town. It's not a city. It's quite a large walled town, but it is not a city. It is like Odessa, perhaps because of its proximity to Odessa, fairly cosmopolitan. All of this. One thing that strikes you is, particularly as a craftsperson, in fact, a craftsman, is that the infrastructure to the city seems very well maintained. All the roads are well paved and don't seem to have any significant damage to them. Everyone seems fairly healthy. There don't appear to be any immediate problems with crime. Unlike with Odessa, where there are like definitive like slum areas, and areas where crime is more rampant and corruption is a bit more apparent. It is far less apparent. Dare I say, almost invisible in Timurin. Like there's just not a lot of negativity to this place. There are several town squares which you go through. The people there seem to pay you no mind. Those that do seem very friendly to you. The people seem quite welcoming, despite the fact that the town itself had effectively shut its borders for like 3 months. As you kind of head on through, as you head into the center of town, the town becomes effectively more affluent the further in. The area to the castle is gated. It is a gated community, much like the Nobles' Quarter at the at Edessa. You end up heading up this kind of straight trail up the hill to the castle. The castle's fairly large. Looks like it's almost like a part palace, part military fortification. There's a front yard where you can, I don't know if you have a mount or if you took a carriage here or if you have your donkey with you.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, Geppetto would have worked fine.
Yeah, donkey bro. Donkey bro will be taken off. Off your hands. Like there's a little stable area. There's actually quite a lot of horses out, so a lot of animals kind of where the stables would be, and they've had to take some of them around around to the back, or like off to kind of down the side of the kind of front yard area, like kind of. Basically, there's a front yard, and then there's like two thinner trails that go down to the backyard. So it's kind of like it's one kind of encircling area. And they kind of probably take your donkey around the back because you get the feeling, like, considering just how many carriages and like are coming through here, how many mounts are here. Like this place seems busy. You can actually hear the noise outside, and you're kind of left waiting outside outside of the castle initially until what appears to be sort of a housekeeper or a steward comes out of the front door to escort you kind of as one group into the Elysium. He very much apologizes for the wait. But once you get moving, he's a very amiable guide, and you can see why you'd perhaps want a guide. The castle isn't massively labyrinthine, but it is ever so slightly. You have reason to believe that if you kind of started heading down some of the side passages or downstairs or upstairs, you could. There's the possibility that you could perhaps get lost. It is quite a winding trek to the Great Hall where Elysium was being held. Once you get to the Great Hall, the doors are open for you. There are a couple of announcements made as you enter. There, it looks like there are a couple of older canines with you. No one of elder status, but there was like a couple of ancilla from outside the city, outside the town. Sorry, coming from Bira. And what you see is a very large hall. The walls are beautifully decorated and tiled. The windows that line the walls on the left and right have these beautiful curtains that appear to be made of strands of gold. As a craftsman, you can tell that they were made with incredible skill and time. And at the back of the hall, there are a set of 3 thrones on sort of an elevated position. And behind each of the thrones, there are 3 stained glass windows. On the left, there is one depicting a shadowy figure with a crown. The center one, it depicts a faceless angel, and the third one depicts a humanoid yet draconic-looking figure with kind of not necessarily draconic, but scaly, like appear to be somewhat feminine, but is also faceless. All of these figures do not have faces. Do you have theology? Do you have theology?
No, not theology.
Okay. Oh, actually, no, it wouldn't be theology. What's your Canaanite law or kindred law?
As a specific trait, I don't have that.
You start off with Canaanite law 2 for free.
Oh, okay.
And your specific clan law at 2 for free as well. Yeah, if it's just 2, then you wouldn't know anything about this particular imagery. But of course, none of this actually matters. It should be noted before I make the grand announcement that everyone is waiting for, that Irene in particular is waiting for. The Grand Hall is like extremely busy. There's people talking, gossiping everywhere. There are refreshments available. There is the very faint smell of vitae. And there are, on the left side and the right side, there are 2 doors that lead off to fairly sizable balconies. Outside, you can see some of them through the windows. But on the ceiling, oh my, it appears there are gold curtains on the ceiling that have been pulled back to reveal a mosaic of unimaginable talent and magnificence and majesty. Oh,
and
you look faint even looking at it. Memnon, you would see Irene as part of this mosaic. It's a mosaic of the prince and his child at a garden side lake, or a lakeside garden. It is ridiculously extravagant and depicts Irene in all her trying to think of more words to describe the radiance of Irene in all her radiant glory.
Okay.
Literally running out of words to describe how great this mosaic looks and how great Irene looks in it. Just take a little one. It's okay. Take your time. We'll have a moment of silence for you.
Given what few strands of information he knows about Irene, he is surprised, and mayhaps ask her about that later, but definitely would like to be acquainted with the person who actually made this. Great craftsmanship. Memnon probably just like grab some refreshment. I don't know. Is it people that are hanging about, or is there like refreshments and goblets?
There are refreshments available. There is also the Keeper of Elysium, who kind of greets you all as you all enter and wishes you a great Elysium. She announces herself as Maria, Profeta of Tuscany, an esteemed member of the Tismisi clan, who will be hosting you tonight and for the next 5 days.
Memnon will try to make some effort in seeming gracious for the host having invited him. Yeah, and he'll try to see if he could find Irene, since she's pretty much one person he knows better than the others. So far.
As he's trying to find Irene, he will be intercepted by a person he has met before. Madeline will just come over and just say, "Ah, Memnon, it is good to see that you decided to take me, or my prince's invitation to heart. Welcome."
Sister Madeline, thank you for the invitation. Good to see you here. How goes the gathering?
As you can see, it is quite busy. Might I help you with? It looks as though you have already gotten any refreshment, but well, I do believe you can try to speak with Ulrich. I do not know where he is at the moment. Well, perhaps you would just like to mingle. I will leave you to it.
Out of character, I still have this letter that was delivered to me, and I'm supposed to deliver it to him again.
If I recall, it is the La Sombra primogen of Edessa.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Memnon would ask Sister Madeline if our religion was here with us tonight.
She has been here a while. She would probably know. Is the Primogen here?
Yes.
Well, it's Chris that would know this, since it is him that plays the Primogen.
Yes, but he is not here.
Um,
Or he's muted.
Well, then Madeline, Madeline will just say, I'm not quite certain. He is a man who has quite a few things to see to. But, well, you should relax. If he is here, you will find him eventually. Just remember not to barge in on any conversation he might be having. That would be ever so unbecoming.
Right. This would be my first time as a guest to an Elysium. I hate to make a bad impression.
Quite true.
I haven't forgotten your request for Sister Madeline. I'm working hard to ensure that you have a superior set of armor.
Well, that is good to know. It seems my request is in good hands. Please, enjoy the Elysium, and yes, I do believe if you have questions, particularly, you should talk to the Keeper before me, but if you find something that you need to speak with me about, please do not hesitate to ask. Madeline will just nod and leave him to it.
As soon as she's disengaged from her conversation, which the Wobble stood apart from, he goes to Madeline and places a goblet in her hand. And he just sort of leans into her politely and just says, "You need to keep drinking, you know."
What did he say?
You need to keep drinking. You need to keep your strength up. It's been a trying couple of days.
Oh, it has. But I have recovered ever so well.
He's fussing
What?
in the most manly way possible. He is
And it
fussing.
is really not. I should be talking to you like that, not the other way around.
Why is that?
Is that not something a woman would say to a man after he has been in a struggle? If he is sick, she has to care for him. What?
I'm not.
She just looks at him and just smiles. Well, that is what the mortals would do. But I suppose that is not of any of our concerns. So I do not know if your sire is here tonight. It has been some time since you have seen her, but
He sips from his goblet. I don't think so yet, as the room's not lost all its temperature.
well, there's still time.
We need to talk about something later. Too many ears here.
Quite a few here. By the way, I must ask you, how was your first night of sleeping, not only in a bed, but in a casa? Well, first day.
Sorry, what?
Oh, Madeline is just asking Torvald how his first night sleeping inside a castle was.
Hey,
When he sleep in a castle?
Well, he would sleep during the day in Madeline's room.
Oh no, this is Zorik's Haven.
Oh, goddamn. Okay, fair enough. Then she won't ask.
Yeah, Zara's fucking princess shit. You don't bring that shit. You're
Get
not
out of
allowed.
here.
You're not allowed in Haven. Jesus Christ.
Okay, fine. God damn it. Well,
she can
then
still ask him.
Madeline,
Buy your own fucking castle.
We're in a castle.
Madeline will just, let's just say, it is quite true. There is very many people here.
She can still ask him how he feels about the castle. I mean, it's probably the first time he's been in the castle, to be fair.
What do you think of the place?
I've never seen this many Canaanites assembled in one place. It's interesting atmosphere, though. He shrugs his shoulders. In your company, I'd be happy in the sewer.
Well, this is a part that came easy for me to maneuver such places. Not always, but most times. It is also a thing that you must learn. However you might not like it.
He pulls a face like, like when someone's like put something in front of you that you're not very happy with, like disgusted by. He pulls one of those sort of like wrinkled faces. Gangrel and politics don't mix, you know.
Your sire would seem to disagree.
He doesn't have an answer for that. He just favors over one of those looks.
Well, I understand your perspective, where you come from. But honestly, you do not need to worry. I will teach you in time. Like I said, certain things come very easy to different people. She's constantly just looking at him, but she also looks around to just see who's around. And the two will continue talking. I do believe that in order not to hug all of the time, then
Hogs all the time, mutes Chris.
No, you won't be hogging up all the time. At least not Thorvald's time, because Erden is going straight towards him. A little bit shaky. It seems that he's gotten into the mead again, as one does.
Thorvald reaches out to Erden and puts a sort of friendly hand on his shoulder, like both in greeting and in sort of like a steadying motion.
Thank you, brother. You would not believe the serving women they have. My word, if only. he says this very much how an intoxicated man does. If only I was still mortal down there. Am I right?
I don't believe it would stop you. He smiles.
No, that is very true. Oh, he goes through his cloak, and he gives you a fairly decent sized bag. I got you a gift, and he kind of squints and he kind of scours and he goes, "Well, I'll be the son of a whore." And there's the man who did it. And he points it to Memnon. What an unusual turn of events.
Memnon just looks up from his drink.
Like, what?
Someone said my name, what?
Yes. The guy, Memnon, the guy that you talked to about the armor. He's here in Elysium.
Oh, right. Yeah, Memnon. I mean, I don't know how far away Erden was, but
he's really loud.
He's really loud.
There is no whispering or talking. It is shouts or louder shouts, I think, with Erden. But well, you know.
He doesn't know how to use it. He's just like, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So like Memnon was busy drinking from his cup and just hears that and looks up like, what? Huh?
Thorwald looks in the bag, like
it is new armor. It is studded armor. It's leather off. It's basically leather. It's aesthetic, if anything, but it looks very nice. It's very new. Looks intimidating as fuck. Exactly what Thorvald needs.
Yeah, exactly what he needs, considering the last set of armor he had vanished into
the ether,
the pit of. Let's not say. He holds the armor up and looks at it. Very fine armor. What did I do to deserve such a gift?
he pats you on the shoulder. Come now, brother. We are warrior men. Cannot a man give his brother a new set of armor, strong and tough, much like he is?
He leans in to give Erden a appreciative sort of, not quite hug, because men didn't really hug at this point.
It's the bro hug. You know?
It's a bro hug. And he says in his ear, Thorvald isn't quite as, he's still got that sense of humor, but he's not going to talk this way out loud in front of ladies. He says, oh, if I didn't know better, I think you were trying to fuck me.
oh, Thorvald.
And he's laughing.
Oh, and he kind of gives another deep, kind of a big hearty kind of chuckle in his stomach. Oh, I'm sorry, my friend, but the last man I fucked, he bled to death.
I imagine the two Gangle are just having this very loud, raucous conversation, and
yes,
a couple of people are like, "What the fuck?"
Actually, yes, there is. I need to get her. Yes, there she is. Yes, as Thorvald is cavorting, Narcisa the Samitsi comes in and she holds a handkerchief over her nose as if she's had a horrible smell. My word, the uncouthness.
Dorval just looks at this woman. Does she look like that?
Yes, she does. She's very hot. She's like App 5, I believe.
Lol. He looks at her. He kind of like raises a brow. I haven't had the pleasure of your acquaintance, my lady.
She takes the cloth and kind of puts it away into a pocket, if you will. And she goes, Narkisa Catherix of Clan Simitsi. Have you seen... She kind of... have you seen the beauty of Tuscany? And she's referring to the keeper of Elysium.
He bows and he says, Thorvald of Clan Gangrel. And then he sort of looks probably in the direction that she's... Is she eyeing the direction of the keeper, or is she just saying it?
She's saying it as if kind of like somewhat of an announcing to it, as if it's not like Erden's very loud and boisterous. It's more like kind of a very regal kind of announcing about it. And she goes, as you say, Gangrel. She goes, of course, how could I not imagine different?
Well, it's rare that we get to mix in such esteemed company. Forgive my brother's manners. He gives Erden a kind of playful shove.
As you do so, Erden just simply chuckles again loudly as he does. And she goes, no, it's quite all right. I understand with men like him, it is more in common to be boisterous.
Simply excited by the evening's promise, I'm sure.
I'm certain of that. And she finally finds Lucia. And she goes, if you will excuse my company. She walks away with that very kind of exaggerated sway as she goes to mingle with the keeper and of her clan. They have discussing to do, that sort of thing.
Thorvald bows his head at her. As soon as she's sort of out of eyesight, he rolls his eyes at Erden. He does sort of look over in the direction of this famed beauty of Tuscany that he's heard so much about. But he hasn't really got close enough to her to really introduce himself or have a proper look, so... And no doubt, as the keeper of Elysium, she's quite busy.
Oh,
she is. She's tending to other matters right now. She actually she seems to be not this person. Okay. She seems to be.
I'm just saying.
She's she's overseeing the affairs of older Canaanites right now. She just kind of, in some cases, patrols Elysium. Patrols, it sounds so militant. She peruses. She kind of walks around greeting guests, kind of, and getting people who appear isolated to mingle a little bit more, to socialize a little bit more. Those who look like trouble, or rather those who are lonely or unstable enough to dismiss or disrespect her, are swiftly escorted out of the building. There is no resistance from the people who do this, largely because there's a lot of security here. There are a lot of guards, a lot. As in, if a Canite went wild, there'd probably be at least a dozen guards swarming them. And that is, and that's only because at that point there are so many guards around this person, the others can't reach them. When you went through the sort of corridors to this hall, it was noteworthy that you saw quite a lot of guards. So you reckon about, considering how many are in here and in the hall, there are at least 24, like just around the hall itself, more than enough to deal with any renegade cannons. Probably not to deal with an outright like riot of every Canite, but then again, what is going to stop a mass of like 100 rioting Canaanites? Nothing is. You snuff out the spark before it begins.
Yeah, someone will, like, as she sort of does her rounds, he will, when she gets a bit closer, he will sort of look at her. He doesn't go to interrupt her. If she looks his way, he will sort of bow his head at her respectfully, but he does sort of under his lashes appreciate.
Choose appearance 4.
Listen, she's not.
She seems to do the kind of queenly thing of just nodding, bows at her and like giving them the cute, quaint little wave. A way to address basically everyone who approaches her without having to make any real commitments to any real social engagement. One thing that is noteworthy about her is that her eyes seem, despite her kind of social nature, it's a weird sensation. She seems like she does engage with people, but she also seems like her presence is definitely felt around the room. Like, you get the sense that there is, and perhaps it's because of the presence of this heavy security, that you definitely feel like you never feel like you're not being watched. Maybe it's just because of how busy the place is, not even the security, just because there's so many Canaanites here. Like, there's over 100 Canaanites here.
Yeah.
But yeah, her presence, her eyes are definitely felt on most people in the room. Our focus right now seems to largely be on the discussion between let's see, pretty much everyone recognizes the Seneschal, somber privileging, but I don't think everybody recognizes this other figure. Irene and Madeleine, you do. You recognize her as the former Ravnos Primogen, as obviously
Yes.
difference. They seem to be standing off not too far from the throne in a matter of discussion. It appears to be rather light chatter. They also appear fairly segregated from the rest of the room. And there are a couple of guards just, eyes on that place in particular. Like they're kind of off in the corners or like just by the corner of where they're standing, just making sure everything is fine.
If Memnon sees the Seneschal Primogen, would he see him if he tried to look for him?
Yeah, they're actually in some ways they kind of. I mean, they're easy to find if you're looking for them because they're kind of segregated from the rest of the Elysium.
Okay. Well, when Memnon does, he'll you said that there were like guards kind of nearby them, right?
Yes. They're not necessarily obstructing you. They just have eyes on that place in particular. Like they're just standing there, just ever vigilant.
Right. And it looks like they're both engrossed in some conversation.
Yeah, it's hard to make out with all the gossip.
Okay. Here's what Memnon will do. He'll try to just angle himself in a position where the Seneschal can see him, but this letter that he has, he'll kind of like hold it in his hand and like keep it on his shoulder, just visible until perhaps the Seneschal catches an eye of Memnon there.
He seems aware of your presence. As you kind of angle yourself into this engagement. He doesn't really address you for like a full minute until his conversation with Rafa's Progen just seems to end, and you kind of just you just kind of make out like the final parts of their conversation. So, fantastic. Tomorrow then. I'll see you then. Ravenous Primogen smiles, reciprocates, bows, and goes about her merry way. And her gaze remains very much locked with yours as you two kind of walk past each other.
Memnon would return the gaze, but not really break his neck to see her go by.
Yeah, her gaze is more deep than it is intimidating. Like she just looks kind of like looks into you, but doesn't really do or say anything other than give you this strange insightful look before walking past, leaving you with the seneschal.
When she's out of what I would presume earshot, but who really knows? Then I would approach the seneschal and say good evening, and explain that he's been asked to forward this to him, handing him the scroll. I'm not sure if it was. I'm sorry. I mean, I can't remember if it was like a letter or a scroll, but he hands it to the Primogen.
What is this?
I do not know. I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
Oh, no. He just takes it off you. Evan, I feel like you should perhaps inform me here.
Yes, I will get you the information. I will resend it, since it's probably been a while since I sent it to you.
It's quite alright. The Seneschal will begin reading. It's kind of strange how he can just appear so monotone and blank when he wants to be, and just convey literally no emotion whatsoever. Like the man is almost a master of just putting on a mask on a whim. Like he just looks so down to business. And he just begins reading through it. You notice how he reads it is he reads it with the like his back turns towards an empty part of a wall. It's kind of like a little motion he does as he begins to read. Kind of securing some degree of privacy for this, considering the area he's in is just packed with Canaanites.
Well, Memnon would shift in his stance, maybe look over his shoulder just to see if any onlookers, not knowing the contents of the letter, he would have the suspicion that it was something that was meant for only the Seneschal's eyes.
I have no idea if anybody is.
The Seneschal, after kind of finishing reading, he just tucks the scroll away, probably attaches it to the sort of waistline belt he has. And just says, "You have done me a service. You have my gratitude."
Memnon slightly bows. Whatever pertained to the letter, I had not read. I thought it was information conveyed for you, and you alone.
Your discretion in this matter is noted.
Well, Seneschal, if did we lose Chris?
Sorry, for some reason it just crashed.
It's okay. Yeah, Memnon just said, well, Seneschal, if you are in need of any other service, perhaps here tonight, I will make my rounds, unless there is some matter of importance you would convey to me. A moment.
I would advise you to get to know the Assamites to Ravnos to Gangle.
I'm sorry, Chris, I couldn't make that first part out.
He just said, "Oh yeah, Peter all crashed." He'll just say, I think he just said, it'd be good for you to get to know the Ravnos, the Assamites again more.
Make a note of it. Enjoy your evening, sir.
Forge some positive ties with them. I think you'll find some potential for mutually beneficial arrangements between them all.
Thank you for the advice. And I guess Memnon will try to mingle a little bit more.
The Assamites aren't too hard to spot out, or particularly some of the older ones, because of the way their curse works. It darkens their skin.
By the way, speaking of the Assamites, is there a certain Assamite that Irene helped not too long ago?
Oh, why, yes. She is here.
Huh, interesting. Okay.
But,
Hey. I mean, not that I immediately want to steal the scene or something, but that would be something that Irene would probably.
it's okay, Gerard's here now.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. No, Irene will probably go over to her and ooh, okay. And yeah, just inform if she's doing well. Stuff like that.
But yeah, I mean, if you want to approach Ebony, go right ahead.
Yeah, she would.
That's okay, well, I'm joking. And yes, I did, Andrew. Ebony walks up to you. And bows or kind of curtsies very, very deeply to you. Almost as if you were on par with royalty that is your sire. So,
No, Irene has to bow, curtsy even deeper. Fuck. The curtsy war has begun.
Actually, this is. I'm not going to go into who would win.
We can roll it.
No, you have to do it right. Okay, Irene, you're gonna roll initiative against the Anthemite for your courtesy, for your courtesy stuff. We'll see as you two do that. We'll go do something else.
This is how the Sombra Assamite Wars began. She curtsies very deeply to you and says, Lady Irene, I never got a chance to thank you for saving my life.
I hope you've made a full recovery.
I have, thanks to you and the care of my clan.
Well, that's good to hear. I do have some questions regarding that event, but perhaps now is not the best time and place. Would it be alright if I would visit you one of these nights?
Of course, but feel free to discuss it now. I have had time to mend myself.
Well,
Her blink, she kind of blinks, but it lasts like a little bit too long. I'm gonna have a roll manipulation subterfuge.
okay, my peonies are not the greatest, but I will do my best.
It's okay, you gotta suck at something.
No, never mind.
She has just a fair amount of dice, not a ton. No, I don't want the emails.
less now than usual. No.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, Shippy's fine. She seems genuine in her statement.
Okay. Irene smiles and says, I was merely interested in whether you had gained any information while you were there. But I am sure that it would be better to discuss this in a more private setting.
Of course, whatever you desire most. How have your nights been? Of course, I haven't spoken to you since that evening.
Well, it has been as turbulent as the city of Odessa, I have to say. But recent nights have been quiet, and that is a welcome change.
Yes, I hope the bloodshed can come to an end. I'm sure that both your clan and mine will do their utmost to put an end to it.
Sorry, most of the what?
Do their utmost to put an end to it. Heavily implying, of course, that they will be working together on this.
Yeah. Irene nods, says, I do hope that we can remain as friends.
I see through your bullshit.
Okay. Well, the bullshit wasn't necessarily what she said, but more a reaction to Ebony's words.
Okay, how she reacts? I got 5 successes. Tell me your secrets.
Irene doesn't really have the feeling that the bloodshed has come to an end. She thinks that this is just, it's only just gotten started. So she probably looks more worried for a second there instead of, confident that, yeah, this is all over.
She'll put her hand on her shoulder for comfort and say, do not concern yourself with my clan skills and your clan's great political talents. There won't be any who would dare disturb the peace under such strength.
Let us hope so.
Indeed, let us hope so.
Well, I won't intrude on your nights. I do hope you enjoy and you find some, well, I would say peace and quiet, but with the amount of people gathered here, I think quiet would be the wrong word for it.
The balcony seem much more amiable if you're looking for a quieter night.
This is true. Well, please enjoy your stay here, and if there's anything you need, feel free to ask.
Thank you. she'll curtsy to you in a very different way again.
Irene will return the courtesy and, continues mingling.
So, yes, and Irene will continue mingling as Team Gatecrasher shows up.
Do they arrive together, the two wonderful gentlemen?
Nope. Merchant of Bones will trade in his normal dark Stark attire for more tailored flowing white robes, and the head wrap that he's wearing actually serves as like a cowl at first, kind of just to help him keep the silence. In which he, upon entering, as allowed entrance into the castle, he will, kind of roll them up so that his face is a little bit more visible. And he just enters still holding his cane, though, as he arrives, alone.
Madeline will, she'll move over and, casually just walk up to him and just say, "Ah, the Merchant of Bones. A pleasure. It is good for you to come."
Real quick, just a brief description of the Elysium. You're basically led up by to the Grand Hall by a steward in a fairly labyrinthine set of corridors. Once you make your way through the these big gilded doors, you are beset upon by an incredibly busy hall with beautifully tiled walls and floors. Two doors rest on each on the left and right side of the hall that lead out to rather expansive balconies that you can partially see through the windows, again on each side of the walls. You notice with your eye, with your sharp eyes, the curtains that have been pulled back appear to be made of strands of gold and seemingly made with remarkable talent and skill, and seem to glisten in the torchlight. At the back of the hall, there is 3 thrones, and behind each throne is the stained glass window. The one on the left is a stained glass figure of a shadowy individual with a gilded, bejeweled gold crown. The center figure is seemingly that of a stereotypical angel, but their body is black, as if they were faceless, as if again you cannot see their figure appropriately well. And on the right side, there is the figure of an effeminate, but again faceless, humanoid yet somewhat strangely shaped, either scaly, reptilian, or draconic figure. Like a human dragon. What's a canine law?
2.
You know nothing. You know nothing, John Snare.
Nothing. Yeah, definitely. The Merchant of Bones' attention definitely seems hard pressed between Madeline and this veritable, treasure trove of a castle.
Yeah, it's like a mix between palace and military fortification. It rests in the center of town.
But he definitely takes a quick gander around. His eyes do like a literal like spit roll around his head, and he kind of goes and meets Madeline's again, and he just gives her a small bow, pressing to his waist as he does so, leaning on the cane, and he just says, "Thank you, Madeline. It's good to see you. I would not have turned down such an invitation to come to this veritable treasure trove of a city you have here, a veritable paradise, from what I've heard from the rumors, especially from Irene herself."
Well, thank you very much for your kind words. We were fortunate enough to be spared from the plague. That helps a lot, of course. But other than that, my prince has taken quite a few strides to make sure that this place is indeed pristine.
His efforts is more than noticeable. It is quite the sight to behold. It is paradise here, I can see. A golden city.
Why? There are still quite a few places that can use improvement before that is true in literal sense, but, well, if you have time, I would like to show you around if you wish so. Well, there is the balconies, of course, if the crowds become a little too much. And, of course, you should probably also thank our guest, or our host, and she will point out the Keeper of Elysium.
Yes.
It is her hosting us after all, and not myself.
Yeah, you're all aware that the Keeper of Elysium of Timurin is a Tismisi known as Maria Profeta di Tuscany.
And once he is introduced, he gives her an even deeper bow.
Sorry, not Maria, Lucia. I bet.
He gives her an even deeper bow, and kind of looks at her as well, and he says, much as he said to Madeline, "It is good to meet you, Lucia. I am the Merchant of Bones, or you can call me Adam. I am Ansel of Clan Cappadocian. Thank you for providing such a very welcoming and beautiful place to conduct business and take in a bit of a break."
She speaks in a thick Italian accent. I won't do it because I can't, and I will just sound like a terrible person.
Yeah, it goes to show that Selim does speak in a thick Turkish accent too, but I just forget it to say. So yeah.
She'll speak in a native language then. So yeah, if anyone speaks Turkish, you understand this. If you don't, she'll say, "The honor is all mine. It is a pleasure to see another scholar in this hallowed place. But you flatter me. You flatter me greatly. I merely maintain what the prince has created."
Nonetheless, it is a great responsibility, and one should be thanked for it.
She will simply curtsy lightly and let the praise hang in the air. Because, oh my, your manners are so great. In any case, I hope you enjoy your time here. It is quite busy. If you'd prefer somewhere more quiet to engage in discussion, the balconies I find are much more appropriate for such an environment. Much more appropriate environment.
I'll keep that in mind. Thank you. It also seems that the balconies might provide a great view from what I've seen from the outside, so I might actually have to just maybe take an opportunity to indulge.
I hope a vista provides you with some manner of inspiration.
And he just gives a small wry smile. I hope so too. Thank you, Lucia.
Thank you. Dream well.
He just gives her another small bow.
She'll go tend to the other guests. You're all kind of led in as a group, basically. You're led in like there's one poor like fucking steward manservant who has to like get all of you from the fucking doors, like at the entrance of the front yard, and lead you into the grand hall. And he's just been running back and forth the whole time. He is gonna be tired by the end of this week.
Yeah, assuming, I don't know if Madeline moved on or not, but Selim will just easily just kind of move in deeper into the going-ons.
Yeah, you see a lot of members of your clan, both from within and without Odessa here. There's obviously Lady Astor hanging around. She seems to be the one most engaged in social affairs. The only person you notice in the crowd, in the numerous crowds who's not here, is Padre.
Mm-hmm.
He has recently woken up, but needless to say, he's just woken up.
Tuckered out. Can understand that. But yeah, he'll just make his ways around, kind of introduce himself to other Cappadocians, and speak to whoever else might catch his fancy. But he'll definitely just just give a small polite bow or nod to Lady Astor. As he does so, if she just happens to catch him. But other than that, he just seems to quite content to just make his rounds and kind of just talk. Yeah, he seems a little I would say maybe uncomfortable a little bit. Since he's Cappadocian, they don't really socialize very well. At least not this one, anyways. He's more traditional in that sense, but he definitely seems to try.
Now, whether your efforts will be rewarded or punished is an entirely separate matter. But yes, this is Johanna's legacy. But you are approached by Lady Astor as you appear to be attempting to do the socials,
Yes.
and she'll show up to, I guess, lend you a hand in some capacity. She just to give some clan solidarity. This place is so just massive, and so filled with Canaanites that it's kind of hard for social circles form, but there aren't really any clannish cliques forming.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's kind of everywhere. But
Yeah,
Lady Astor heads on over to you.
Lady Astor, it's good to see you this evening.
Oh, fantastic! You're here.
How things have been going? You seem quite engaged.
I am. There's only been 2 nights, but I'm already tired.
I see.
Hmm.
Well, there's no rest for the weary. Unfortunately, it's something of a
Mr. Montarasu, are you about to call me wicked?
Oh, we all. Yeah, no rest for the wicked. Excuse me. Yeah, that's what it is. Excuse me. So, yeah, he just chuckles lightly, and My
She
apologies.
smiles as if this is a perfectly acceptable comment for you to make and seems to relish in it.
Yeah. But yeah, fortunately, necessity requires us to, show face. So,
Face, yes. Our premonition is yet to arrive.
I'm not surprised. That just gives us more room to make ourselves more available to everybody else. Don't you think?
Perhaps the Asmites and the Sombra have already ran off with all their friends.
How disappointing. Oh well.
I
More
find
for us,
that we are a little bit segregated here.
He kind of just turns towards her a little bit and kind of just like uses his eyes to kind of like glance around and kind of just tries to see like what she means.
Well, it's not. She is exaggerating. Again, everyone is everywhere.
Oh, okay.
But roll me. What would be an appropriate stat for this? See if a socialized stat existed, I could say that. Roll me perception politics. To get a read for the room and its tone.
Are we just a room 2?
Yeah.
He doesn't see anything. Actually, I don't even think he gets a success. He probably
Nah,
botched.
that's a botch. I mean, you're pretty sure. I mean, Sass doesn't know what she's talking about. She's full of shit. Like, I mean, she appears to be completely off the ball. Like, I mean, everyone's all over the place. You've never seen a more cosmopolitan Elysium. That everyone seems so well integrated and adjusted. In fact, despite all the chatter, it doesn't seem like there's much kind of back talk or gossip going on at all.
Maybe it's just because I just got here, but it seems everybody's well integrated here. Not to say that you're wrong, but I could be missing something here. I apologize.
She seems disappointed in you. She had such high hopes.
Oh.
She kind of just rolls her eyes and kind of throws up her hands. I should have guessed. I suppose we're all truly alone out here.
I didn't mean anything by it, I swear. I'm here. I'll do my best, I promise.
Sorry.
Was that her laughing or you?
No, that was me laughing. Oh, please, the last thing you want to do here is start groveling to me.
So,
be very careful about how you talk to people around here. This is only going to happen. What? This is once in a century, once in an elder's lifetime.
Yes, first impressions and all. I understand.
We should. Yes, I'd advise you to find some common friends and get a strong idea on what everyone is saying. I've heard some of the visiting harpies in Timorine Zone have been discussing what has happened in Mira. I'm not sure the Torador and Adventure will appreciate that.
And I doubt they do, but well, I guess we got work to do, huh?
Hopefully some roses will come through to set the record straight, but they seem so out of it recently.
Well, can only hope.
I've been trying to play devil's advocate, but it's an uphill battle. Still, I always find it amusing when the other clans express such surprise when the Cappadocian backtalks them.
When the Cappadocian what? I missed that last part.
Cappadocian backtalks them. As in, they don't expect a Cappadocian to be as socially adept as them.
Ah. Isn't it quite satisfying, though? Not showing the stereotype.
I did see the Regent recently. Also, I've gotten word that the Ventry Primogen is here. And the Salubris.
The Salubris made it. Now that is interesting.
I can only imagine that's not going to go down very well.
Probably not. We need to be careful. You have heard about their situation and feeding, correct?
Yes. No doubt they'll be heavily embarrassed. That is something, if a confrontation does occur, just, I suppose, advice from one clanmate to another, just reinforce the Keeper's will and we'll be fine. For our part, we should look to reinforce our agenda here.
Gotcha. Thanks for the heads up, or thanks for the advice.
I saw the former Seneschal and the former Ravnos Primogen having a quiet discussion off in a corner, seem to be making waves.
Perhaps they're stirring up something interesting. Some kind of relationship, a new budding one.
We'll need to be ready to announce our own if they see fit to make their move here.
I'm sorry, you said announce?
Yeah, she's basically saying we need to match their union with our own if they decide to use that as a leverage, basically.
Gotcha. And he just looks at her for a moment, kind of cuts his eyes like across the room, just kind of looking out again, looks at her and then gives her a strong single nod.
Have a good evening. Stay safe out here. Stay safe out there. I think you'll find this place to be far more dangerous than anywhere else in Odessa.
Indeed. Well, if I'm going to encounter any danger, it will not be without a drink. And he just chuckles to himself, and seeming self-satisfied for some reason.
I didn't consider you an alcoholic.
Maybe today. Maybe just this evening. And he kind of just gives her a small bow and kind of heads towards wherever the refreshments are.
Yeah, there are several servants providing refreshments. Kind of, it's a group thing. They don't personally provide to people because there's way too many people. So it's kind of, they walk around with a large silver plate with bloody beverages. Yeah, you're free to take them. And as soon as they're all gone, they head out and go out to refill. It seems really busy. Something that is of interest to you would be that they must have a lot of stockpiled vitae to be able to serve this many people.
Yeah, he kind of just stops and kind of just looks at him, watches that for a bit, though. Yeah.
And as something of a scholar, you may not have a lot of canine law, but you do know that when actually no, you've got a lot of medicine. Actually, it's more into medicine. You know that blood obviously tends to, for lack of a better term, go bad when left exposed to the air for a significant period of time. Mm-hmm. And obviously in the Dark Ages, there's no real way to preserve it, which definitely lends itself the question as to how they have this much vitae. It would be something to note there. They're probably giving out 50 points a night, just to kind of give you a metric.
Jesus.
Like that's a lot of blood.
Selim just picks up a glass, kind of just looks at his reflection in the scarlet liquid, just thinking about all this as you say.
No, he doesn't.
That's probably been stopped. They must have been stockpiling blood for a really long time, or they just have. It's been sort of a communal effort. But because this blood tastes fairly fresh to you.
Huh.
But that's the weird part, because even if they've been stockpiling blood for a long time, either they've invented a way to preserve it, which you're unaware of, or they somehow managed to spontaneously manifest an immense amount of vitae within a very short period of time.
Interesting.
Blood bags are not a thing in the Dark Ages. Go away.
Huh?
I'm sassing Saskia.
Oh, okay.
Side chat. Don't worry about it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Madeline will go up and she will the Samitsi woman that Torvald interacted with before. She can be seen interacting with her. Just chit chat, it seems.
One last thing. I don't think I mentioned the mosaic on the wall. There is a mosaic depicting Irene, the prince, and his other child are on the wall at Lakeside Garden. My bad. I'll leave you to it.
Oh.
It is astonishingly good. Master craftsman.
Nice.
Speaking of master craftsman, the man who turned himself into a puddle is entering in.
I'm sorry, Evan. You're really robotic. At least for me.
Ahem. Better?
Yep, I am so sorry, but yes, you are.
Okay. The Orso, yes, the man who turned himself into a puddle. The person who's probably dangerous to anything, but especially himself, is entering in. A large lumbering figure. He is shadowed by his sire, a rather small Jewish man, almost like a small man with a very, very large dog. That's how it looks as Orso kind of stomps himself rather cheerfully, I should say, towards Irene, his sire, following in suit.
Okay, Irene will curtsy.
Orso will bow his head very, very low. He actually seems like he's gotten a little bit better in his etiquette.
Yeah, Irene will nod approvingly. Urso, it's such a pleasure you're here. How are you?
Orso is good. Orso has been working hard to not become puddle again.
That is definitely a step in the right direction. And I see so far you have succeeded.
Yes, Orso is strong, and he kind of like flexes his arms a bit, as if very much implying that strength.
Of that, I don't think there was any doubt, even before the unfortunate incidents in the sewers.
And he simply kind of grunts happily. His sire, Myron Shiro, who hasn't been around for quite a bit, kind of appears from around Orso, and he goes, "Lady Irene of La Sombra, it is a pleasure to see you here again."
Irene will curtsy again. The pleasure is all mine.
This is a rather magnificent looking Elysium. I see it's, quite frankly, if you would allow me to be rather uncouth in my vernacular, but I would say that this place perhaps rivals even that of Jerusalem's Elysium. But don't say that. Don't say that there. They'll be incredibly jealous. He gives her a wink.
I have not had the pleasure to attend an Elysium in Jerusalem, let alone to even visit Jerusalem. So I can assure you that your words will not be heard there. Not through me. And as far as the grandeur of this Elysium, you have both the prince and the keeper of Elysium and the seneschal to thank for that. I am merely attending. Any compliments should go to the three of them.
Myron pats Orso on the shoulder. A modest one she is. You would not expect her to be Ulrich's child, now would you? Please, if you two wish to, Orso, please converse properly, will ya? Myron, myself, I have to converse as one does. Lady Irene, please forgive my rudeness in excusing myself early. And as he leaves, Irene, you hear a voice. You hear a voice you know rather well. Actually, it's a laugh you know rather well.
Oh.
Yes, truly a good Elysium here. The vitae, and he's licking the blood from his fingers. A man could drink here for many nights, and he would not be drunk unless he was a gangrel.
I mean, this is not directed at her, right? This is just general that she picks it up.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Until he sees her.
Oh no.
And he lunks around his armor. Well, now, it is the little princess.
I can assure you, I make no claims to such a title. And she'll curtsy.
You say that, my dear, but princesses are meant to depreciate themselves. But it is still nice to see you regardless.
Okay, I'm gonna fucking pee that, because I don't fucking believe a word of that, but hey. Must be the strange looking exterior stuff that, yeah, no. She doesn't get anything off of him.
She just thinks that he's being a very playful man. It's like, wow, he's turned over a new leaf.
I mean, that would have been a botch.
Yes. And he simply says to her, please, my dear little princess, you must tell me when you can come and see me, so that I may teach you how to use a blade. It has been rather difficult to produce a meeting between us, a tragedy, to say the least.
I would be more than happy to visit your tunnels again.
Wonderful. Simply wonderful. And Orso he's simply looking at Irene as if he's like, it's like Orso smash. Orso, crush head like grape.
Irene will just place a hand on his elbow. It's like, no, definitely not here.
A wise decision. As again, the primogen of the Nosferatu continues to cavort and acts not as obnoxiously loud as Erden, as we allow the man who makes the pillars of salt, Gerald, allows him to take center stage.
Wise and slander, sir. Gerard will enter sometime after the rambunctious Nosferatu, and it's very evident when he enters. He is wearing a resplendent set of armor, the finest of fine, blistering light reflecting off of it as the polish has been made to it. And he stands a whole head above most of the crowd, maybe not everyone around. There are some very powerful individuals hanging out, but certainly the most regal of those, I would wager. And yeah, he wanders into the Elysium of Timuron, a place that he has never been to and probably doesn't have a reason to be here, but here we are.
I mean, the place is filled with silence, then fuck it, why not? Irene will
I have that
around.
effect.
Yeah, apparently so.
No. Irene will probably be followed by Madeline. Who is Gerard talking to?
Nobody. He literally just wanders in And
Irene
stands
now.
there looking entirely stoic as usual. He has
Irene
no
will
opinion of any
curtsy.
of this. His eyes swivel down to Irene, and he gives one of those acknowledging tilts of the head, very slightest of bows, the slightest of slight.
Yeah, she expected nothing less. So she'll just smile as she says, Lord Gerard, it is a pleasure to see you here.
And you, as always.
I hope your nights have been quiet and that the city's uproar has not compromised your situation too much.
Quite the contrary. Quite the contrary. But I thank you for your concern.
It is good to hear. Feel free to enjoy Elysium here.
Takes a look around. His eyes fall upon Madeline as she approaches.
Gerard, so good. I was worried that you might not have time to come and enjoy our hospitality. It is very good to receive you here. Please, enjoy the refreshments offered. How have you been?
For you, dear sister, and for your prince, I wouldn't miss it for the world. I've been very well. Thank you.
That is good. That is good to know. I do not know how many of your clan is here, but I'm assuming you can find quite a few around.
Well, if the fancy takes me, I'm sure that I'll find reason to go speak with them.
There are many others to talk to. I do believe, well, I met the Merchant of Bones earlier, and quite a few others from Edessa. But
I do believe that as a former keeper of Elysium, I have much to praise this keeper and the fine work that they and the prince have done. This place is resplendent.
well, then I am a little jealous that I cannot take credit. And she will point out the keeper. She is over there, making sure that all her guests are taken care of.
Plenty of time yet. No rush.
Of course not.
Lady
And how
Madeline,
have you been? Okay, go ahead.
I apologize, please, Lord Gerard, go ahead.
I forgot what I was even going to say. Go ahead, Irie.
God damn it. You said the Merchant of Bones is here. Could you
Yes.
point me in his direction?
And she takes a moment to look around, and she will see Lady Astor, and she will just, I believe that is Lady Astor over there. Perhaps, well, they are of the same clan. I do believe that they could be talking. Perhaps look over there.
Thank you. And she'll curtsy to the both of them, and she'll leave.
Child of the prince.
Who would have thought it?
Why? Given some of the events in the city and around it, I must say it is quite apparent why this would have happened, but yes, on the surface it seems quite strange.
Gerard is sort of looking off after Irene as she's going to find Lady Astor, and he just smirks and says, "That one there, she may well outdo all of us. In the end,
I do believe that stranger things have happened.
stranger things every day."
Madeline will see a tray with goblets. She has one herself. She picks up one and just hands it or passes it over to Gerard.
Gerard will take it politely, but he does not drink from it. "Thank you so much." "Well, don't keep me entertained for my sake, please. There's much to do. Many new faces to meet, people to talk to."
Quite so.
Yes. There is a new
Just
face.
just before she just seems to look at you, Gerard, and she seems to be admiring is probably a too big a word, but she does seem to measure you and just smile fairly genuinely. Just say, "Well, please enjoy your evening. As you said, I have much to see to." And she will wander off. Go ahead, Evan.
Yes, as someone enters into the Elysium, probably someone nobody's seen. This fellow. Oh, there we go. This fellow here, looking just as resplendent as Gerard, but much brighter. Yes.
Gerard already hates him and is going to wander off far away.
As he enters into the Elysium, who is closest to the entrance doors?
Gerard's retreating form, probably.
And the keeper, who is pretty obviously Christian. I'm sure that'll go down well.
No, it'll be fine. As this man sees the keeper of the Elysium, he simply bows his head. Masalam alaikum, my dear friend, Lucia of Tuscany.
Okay. I can't pronounce that probably. I'm sorry. I'll try. Sure, responding kind. I almost got it. It's Wassam Al Malika. Sorry.
That is close enough.
Oh, that's out of character. She knows more about this than I do. I'm a filthy, ignorant peasant. But Lucia is not, and is actually well educated in the many languages of the world.
Yes.
No, she'll respond in kind.
As she responds in kind, the man brings his head up, and he says, "I am Al-Katiba Khube, an elder of the Bruja. I have decided to look upon the beauty of Timarant's Elysium. It is, again, wonderful, to say the least. And I've been to many Elysiums.
An honor and a privilege to hear you say such. I take it your trip was comfortable?
Yes, it was. Ah, it is wonderful to have the nights as they are, not too cold. They are simple breezes that come to bring the smells of the outside world. It is intoxicating in many ways.
She'll simply nod at this, uh, right, kind of in engagement. I see. I believe the former seneschal of Odessa was expecting you.
Ah, was he? Well, then please forgive this man's rudeness to leave you, my dear friend, but let me talk with him, and then perhaps he he takes her hand if she allows him to, and
Oh, yeah, of course.
he will simply he will not like kiss her hand. He'll simply press it to his lips because he's a gentleman, kind of, maybe. I don't know.
May do that. And yeah, after allowing him such privileges, she'll say, "You are quite well forgiven. Please enjoy your evening."
I thank you very much. And he begins walking towards uh, the seneschal. The way that he walks, it's very, very graceful.
Hmm. Would you like to have that discussion later time? As I have about 12 minutes.
Of course, obviously.
And yeah, we'll have one. Gerard will be visited by one last um, well, acquaintance. Andrea makes her way over to you, Gerard. She walks with a fairly purposeful and strong kind of a stiff stride.
Gerard will sort of turn to face her and regard her curiously. He is not a very empathetic person, but that stiffness is oh so obvious.
She curtsies to you rather briefly and stiffly, as if she's kind of getting the formality out of the way. The stiffness of her movements is only mirrored by a somewhat unamused and again stiff look on her face. She appears somewhat irritated with something.
Mm-hmm. Gerard will just regard her with a curious expression, seeing as how she wants to move into the meat of whatever it is she wants to say.
Good evening, Gerard. Here a day early, I see.
Well, you know, have to make oneself seen so everyone can get used to the idea.
Yes, it appears the first few nights of this Elysium have been what they call setting the tone, as in actually a waste of my time. At least with Bruges here now, things may begin to actually matter. We might begin to get to the meat of affairs finally.
Well, I suppose that we can hope that everything will fall into place. I personally don't subscribe to that method, but it's a nice thought.
Yes, nice thought. I just find it amusing how they expect us to mingle with low bloods and our own nemesis, or our own nemesis. God damn it. I'm off my game. I'm tired.
Well, it didn't appear to be much of a choice, so let's make do with what we have.
Apparently tomorrow they're going to be having an open forum for discussing the concerns of the domain. I also think the members of the Quarters Bureau will be showing up as well, making an appearance. Whether it's just a gesture or not is yet to be seen, but it's something at least in our favor.
The very thought of this brings the faintest hint of a crack of a smile to the corner of one lip as he thinks of that dummy Tremere that probably saved his life way back when. But how goofy he was.
Oh, how goofy he was.
Backwater that court is. Oh, that'll be good. Yes, this will be good.
It was the most backwater court. Yes.
Don't worry. There's a plan in place.
Excellent. Well, I certainly hope it doesn't involve the Cappadocian Primogen in any capacity, because he is yet to arrive.
We have contingencies.
Good to hear. I'll edit the Tremere Primogen and our own are making the rounds here, so at least we, if nothing else, are prepared.
There is one matter to discuss, and I hope that I can find you privately, as privately as can be anyway, very soon before all this happens.
Of course, I have taken up temporary lodgings in Timran to see this Elysium to its conclusion. So you may meet me there if you wish for a more private discussion.
I think I may. It is important.
Good. All right then. I'll continue mingling with the lesser folk here and see what I can turn up. It appears the Sombra have wasted no time in making friends. It looks like they are seeing fit to announce their own union shortly, from what I can tell. They're certainly making it rather obvious.
Well, much to do, so little time.
I suppose I can go around humiliating that idiot from Malatia. If nothing else, it'll keep me entertained until we get to something of import to do.
With impunity, my dear. With impunity.
She will show, much like you, the smallest crack of a smile before simply saying, well then, I'll leave you to your affairs. Have a pleasant evening.
Talk to you soon.
Likewise. She will curtsy and very kind of give you a very sweet smile in a way as she walks away.
And Gerard will give her a nod.
And she will leave the group she next go to, talking about how lovely and sweet you and her are. And, yes, and I think that we can end our scene. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. We'll see you all tomorrow, hopefully. Yes.